Hi, this is Karen White of Divine Time Astrology, and Neeshee.Pandit and I are back again to talk about the full moon in Virgo on February 19th of this month. Hi, Neeshee.
Hi, Karen.
Nice to see you again.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. This is fun. Okay, so we're going to bring just a small element of something into it today that we haven't in the past, and that is the cards of truth. Neeshee is studying it, and so he's going to pull a card for today, and we're going to add it into, or weave it into today's conversation about the full moon in Virgo on the 19th. So Neeshee, did you pull a card?
I did pull a card. I did pull a card, and the card I pulled is an 8 of Hearts.
Did you show it to us? Okay, great.
See if I can get the glare. There we go.
There we go. 8 of Hearts.
8 of Hearts corresponds to the Hanged Man in Tarot. And in terms of astrology and elements in Ayurveda, 8 is the card of Rahu. And Hearts is the suit that is associated with the water element. And Hearts is also the second suit. So, for example, the key card for the Heart suit is a 2 of Hearts, you know, the moon, which is like a moon card, basically, you could say. You know, it epitomizes the lunar quality. So the Heart suit altogether is about the moon. So, of course, it's fortuitous that I would pull that card.
Of course.
Heart suit is about the moon. It's about the nourishment that we get from life, from things, the love, you know, the good things that can flow into us that we can receive and feel nourished by.
Doesn't it correspond to the fruit, like fruit on a tree?
It does.
The fruit
does correspond to fruits in terms of nature. Hearts are fruits, you know. Fruits are ripened by the sun. They're full of water and nourishment, you know, which is the lunar essence of the fruit. And when we eat fruits, we feel nourished, satisfied. Fruits have a unique quality that way.
Yeah, and it corresponds to the fact that the full moon gives.
That's right.
So how do you bring Rahu into that?
I bring Rahu into it because it's through, you know, 8 is an even number. You know, even numbers always have an element of balance to them. I mean, even if you just look at this card, you can see that there's balance, there's symmetry.
Right.
So 8 has balance in it, just like Rahu is the means by which we become balanced. It's a means by which we can gain balance in our lives, even if initially it seems like Rahu is imbalancing us. It's actually the means by which we acquire true balance in our life. So that's the meaning of 8.
Okay. Well, an 8 too, and just in numerology, is a number of abundance. And it has to do with your outer abundance being a reflection of how you're feeling about yourself inwardly. So it's a mirror thing, which again is a moon symbol.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, okay, so it'll probably come up again as we talk about each sign. So let's begin. So this month, the full moon is in the sign of Virgo, and it's full on February 19th at about 1500. And I've set it for Greenwich, UK, United Kingdom, because that's where everything, all the time zones are started from, is from that point. So if you're wondering why it's different where you are when the moon is full, it's because I have it set from in that position, from that place. And we're starting with Aries, rising, sun or moon. And for Aries, rising, sun or moon, the full moon is in the 6th house in the sign of Virgo. Well, how perfect is that for health, Neeshee? That's like perfect. Right? And the sign of Virgo is related to health, and it's also related to the intestines, to the digestion, to purification of some kind. And the full moon gives. So if you've been working on your health, working with a health practitioner of some kind, I would say this means making some kind of progress. What would you say, Neeshee?
I think you could say that. at the same time, you could say that health could be sensitive, depending on what happens. Because when you have moon in Virgo, my observation has been that people's health will become very dependent on their emotional and psychological state.
Of course.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Virgo is itself that natural sixth house and sixth sign. So it has a lot of connotations for health. And as you said, it rules the intestines. It corresponds to that part of the body, and the intestines are where we absorb nourishment and excrete waste. So it's about that essential balance in life where we're making use of what's good and nourishing to us, and we're letting go of what doesn't help us, so that we're not toxified. We're actually balanced in life. That's what Virgo is about. So moon in Virgo, I mean, obviously Aries people, they may or may not have their natal moon in Virgo. But I'm just speaking moon in Virgo in general tends to indicate that health is dependent on emotional and mental states. So it can go either way. It just depends on where a person is at with that. So for Aries, there could be this great potential for, rejuvenation. On the other hand, if they're having some kind of instability on their mental emotional landscape, then the full moon is going to bring that to the surface,
Okay.
And that's okay. That's just part of the balancing process. So again, it goes back to the 8, 8 of hearts. In a way, it's about balance.
You can't solve a problem till you identify it anyway, right?
Exactly. So one way or the other, the moon is going to give. It's going to give in the direction of, greater health because you're already doing pretty well, or it's going to show you where you need to be healthier.
Exactly. And if you are a healer yourself and you're thinking of starting something in the healing arts or giving a lecture or something like that, this would be a good day to do it. It'd be a good day to start it.
It's also, because for Aries, this full moon has the strongest health connotations as opposed to any other sign, because for Aries, it's going to be in the 6th house.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be the most attentive to that fact. They can utilize the health-giving properties of this, So this could be a good time to lighten the diet. Even if you're feeling good, I think it's a good time to lighten the diet because that'll give time, free up energy for processing emotions, processing what's happening in the mind. If we divert energy away from digesting food, then the moon often helps to regenerate us. We don't want to give the moon too much to adapt to. So often it can be beneficial, to fast during a full moon or to just lighten the diet, in accordance with that. So for Aries people, I would really recommend it, It's a good time for intermittent fasting or just a light diet and just get in tune with the full moon and see how it can rebalance you.
Okay, and then combine that with the 8 of Hearts card, which is the healing element, because it's a Venus card basically, because Venus is the healing planet and water is the rejuvenation. It's the element of water combined with the element of earth. That seems rather fertile. And I already forgot where I was going with that.
The potential for nourishment.
Yeah, resting too. Kind of just resting from maybe some hard work you've been doing for a long time and something you've been focusing on and working hard on. The full moon should bring some fruit, especially because we've got the 8 of Hearts card, which is fruit. So there'll be some fruits here, and you can rest a little bit. I mean, the full moon only lasts. The moon is the fastest moving planet, so it's not like this is going to go on for a long time.
Right.
So a day, just take a day and rest.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's a good point because the moon is not really about external actions. It's about how we experience ourselves and how we experience life and about adjusting that internal process, to be more balanced with our external life. So the moon is a good time to introvert.
Okay, so then you ready to move on to Taurus?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Taurus rising. The full moon in Virgo is in the 5th house. And that's the house of creativity, children, spiritual practice, honors and the mind. So since the full moon gives, this would be such a good time to make progress in your spiritual practices, meditation perhaps, doing something creative if you're a creative person. And you can be creative in anything. It's not just the usual stuff. Creativity is in every single field. So you would probably make some progress in that area, and or something will come to light that will help you to get to the next level. Now, the sign of Virgo, the interesting thing about Virgo is that it's actually a barren sign, in the sense that when you want to start something new, it's better usually to do it when the moon is waxing or full and in a water sign. But it depends on what you're doing. So if you're getting rid of things, if you are having to manifest something on the concrete plane, then the sign of Virgo is a good thing. So even though the full moon gives, there'll still, no matter what it is, there's always something that needs to be sorted through, filtered, or what Virgo does, purifies, in order for it to get to the next stage. So there's that. I'm thinking that that's what maybe that will be for Taurus rising sun or moon. And again, this is on February 19th that this happens. Would you like to add to that?
Sure. I would say that moon in the 5th house for Taurus is really great. This is a good time to get in touch with their creative inspirations, to discover or connect more deeply with some inspirations that they have that they want to manifest. You know, the moon won't necessarily be about manifesting it, but it will be about getting in touch with that, you know. So bringing that to the surface and getting it ready for manifestation. So I think this could be a creative time for Taurians, and Mars is there in Taurus already. So
Right.
that's giving a lot of energy, you know.
Right.
There's a lot of energy here for Taurus to utilize. I think they're going to feel quite energized by this full moon. I think after the full moon, they're going to have some sense of new things or new creative ventures they're wanting to manifest, you know.
Yeah. And what do you think from the Ayurveda point of view? The moon in Earth, and then it's aspecting actually the ascendant, and the ascendant being in Earth, but yet with that fire there.
Yeah, I think it's okay in this case that there's like double Earth going on, you know, because Mars is there bringing fire element, the moon is there bringing water and air elements. So they have a good foundation, you know. The Taurus person is already very grounded and oriented toward the imminency of life, and Virgo is similar in that regard. You know, Virgo is also oriented toward, you know, the immediacy of life and how it can best, you know, arrange things in a rational, practical, and efficient manner. You know, they're both relatively earthy in that sense. So those qualities are harmonious, and having the moon there is just going to bring some more motion to that, you know, and Mars is already there to make sure things don't get stagnant. So I think this looks pretty healthy to me. I think this is a good moment for Taurians.
Great. That's really good. Okay, so to remember, I guess the key here is creativity for Taurus rising sun or moon.
Exactly.
Okay, Gemini. For Gemini, the full moon in Virgo is in the 4th house of the inner emotional life, or the inner happiness house. And since it is a full moon, it's going to be giving. And because Neeshee pulled the 8 of Hearts club, our 8 of Hearts card for the full moon in Virgo, there's also the water element, which is really at home in the 4th house of the inner happiness house. I mean, that's the inner happiness house. So this looks really good for Gemini rising too, doesn't it? You have something to say about that?
I think it could be the most emotional experience of the full moon in terms of the 12 ascendants. I think Gemini will have the most emotional experience of it, whether that's emotionally nourishing experience, that's definitely there. It could also be, like I said, the other side of it, where things are being brought up. There's always that other side to the moon where things are being brought up.
Right.
Either way, you know, whether it's being brought up or you're just nourishing something that's already mature, it's still about nourishment, you know, in the end. So
Yeah.
I think Gemini, there's a lot of nourishment here, you know, emotional nourishment, which is what the moon is about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Cancer is the natural fourth sign. So there's already that strong lunar quality to the fourth house. So for Gemini, they're striking a nice harmony here with moon in the fourth. So I think it's a good moment for their health. I think it's good. Gemini is an air sign, Virgo's earth, so there's a grounding quality to this moon for them. It's not going to be something that gets them too vata imbalanced or anything like that. I think they'll feel like it's nourishing. It's something that they can make use of.
Yeah, and even if it is about bringing something to light, something that maybe perhaps isn't so great, it's being brought to light ultimately for your happiness.
That's right.
So because the fourth house is all about your happiness, your inner emotional life. And it's a good time also to spend time alone at home or around your family, because it's also a family house. Relaxing, enjoying, you know, taking a moment to rest, to enjoy the fruits of your labors. Did we mention the card for Gemini rising yet, Neeshee? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. So the card that Neeshee pulled was the Eight of Hearts.
Well, we did mention that.
Did we? Okay. So that's nourishing again too.
That's nourishing again too, and also shows how some of the things that we have to face, you know, that may not feel positive in the moment, is in fact the means for our balance and nourishment. That's what Rahu is about. You know, again, Rahu is a lunar node, so the moon has within it, you know, Rahu and Ketu. So that's always going to be there on some level.
Always. True. And I like what Ernst says about the chart. He says, you know, that your planets are not happening to you. It's all happening for you.
Mm-hmm.
That is just such an empowering way to look at it. I just love that.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
that's always something to remember. Okay, so you ready for Cancer?
Ready for Cancer.
Okay, if you're enjoying this video and want more on Ayurveda and astrology, please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment. We like it when you leave comments. I'll reply to you personally. On to Cancer rising. For Cancer rising, the full moon in Virgo is in the third house, and this happens on February 19th. So the third house has to do with skills and siblings, teammates, your daily round, you know, just doing things in your neighborhood, mechanical ability, sales. It could be an enjoyable time with your teammates, with your siblings. Also a time where perhaps you make a lot more progress in some skill that you're learning. And in today's world with technology, we're all learning something all the time. So this helps to make it less painful, the full moon, because the full moon gives. And in the sign of Virgo as well, Virgo is about assimilation and elimination and discrimination. So these are really important in developing skills. And it's ruled by Mercury. It's in this exaltation sign of Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of skills and the planet of manifestation. So you learn a new skill, you start using it in the world, and it furthers your life in some way. So the full moon there is going to give you something good when it comes to those things. Maybe you'll take a short trip or go someplace in your neighborhood that you like going to, but maybe you don't get to very often, like a favorite store or the health food store or something like that. That would be a good time to do it. You would really enjoy yourself. And what about you, Neeshee? You want to mention the card that you pulled for this too?
So, yeah, I pulled the Eight of Hearts for this full moon. So that's a Rahu card, as we said at the beginning of this video. So Cancer, it's especially relevant to Cancer ascendants because Rahu is on the ascendant. So they've already got a lot of this Rahu energy happening for them, and they are the ascendant ruled by the moon. So they're going to be especially sensitive to the movements of the moon. So this moon in Virgo, it's full moon, they're going to experience it, you know, in a particular way, just like everybody does. But Cancer, this is their planet, you know, so it's significant. And I would say that the full moon for Cancer is definitely going to be a sensitive one. It's going to be one where they're going to have to be confronting some aspect of Rahu. You know, I really do feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Cancer's a water sign, just like hearts are a water suit. So there's a lot of nourishment in water, for sure. But there can also be a lot of sorrow, you know, in water element when it's not healthy.
Mm.
So those are the two sides of water. You know, too much water can make a person sorrowful. But healthy water, like water that's flowing, is like the water of life. It's nourishment, you know, like the nourishment we get from a juicy fruit.
Right.
So it just depends, you know, where people are at. But those are the possibilities. You know, I think this is an especially, this full moon is has evolutionary connotations for the Cancer person.
Oh, right, because of Rahu. Also, maybe if they plan to do something active that day, will help to keep the water flowing.
Yeah. These are some heavy elements here because they're already, you know, water element is Cancer's element and earth is Virgo's element, and those are both heavy elements.
Mm-hmm.
You know, earth and water typically make up Kapha. So there could be a bit of that, you know. Kapha, when it's in balance, becomes sorrowful and kind of inert.
Mm.
So
okay.
I think that what would be useful is for Cancer people to think about how they can best make use of what's coming up for them. How can they best utilize this? You know, that's going to bring fire element into their life. Because that's ultimately what they need to do. They need to bring that fire element to digest all of this water, to make it flow again, to actualize it. You know, that's the import of Rahu. So
okay, that makes sense. And also the moon is related to writing because it rules writing.
Right.
And it's in a Mercury sign. So another way that you can get all that heavy, inert, over emotional energy moving is to just sit down and start writing, doing the stream of consciousness writing. You can Google the morning pages if you want to get more inspired to do it. And basically it's just where you start writing and you don't stop until you're done. And that can be 3 pages front and back, which takes about 30 minutes, honestly, but you can do it for less time than that. You can decide to just do a couple of pages. And you don't worry about spelling, grammar, punctuation. You don't worry about making sense. It can be just fragmented sentences. It doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're getting that stuck energy moving, and you're doing the Virgo thing, and that is you're purifying. You're getting rid of, you're eliminating, so that you can hear that voice within yourself. And it grounds you. It soothes the nervous system. It connects the head and the heart together, which would be a problem when you have Rahu there in the first house. So, yeah, take advantage of that full moon because it's going to really shed light on anything going on just below the surface of your mind that's truly controlling everything else in your life. Because we like to think that our conscious mind is in control, but it's really not. It's the subconscious mind that's more in control. So that's like a really effective way to deal with it. It's concrete, it's physical. And Virgo is Earth. That's a concrete, physical, rational sign. So that's all I have to say for Cancer. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't.
Okay. Leo rising. For Leo, the full moon is in the critical house, the second house. And it's the critical house for the full moon because this is the house where it's about getting our needs met. And the moon in particular is about getting our personal needs met. And the full moon is a giving moon. Now, it's in the sign of Virgo. So there's also some like processing and eliminating and purifying going on there. So they'll probably be letting go of some things too, but not anything that is painful to let go of. Because the full moon is not really about letting go of things. It's the new moon that's about letting go of things. It's also the house of income, wealth, your resources, your family life, food, drink, speech, your teeth. It'd be a good time to go to the dentist if you've been putting it off. Just to find out maybe if there's something going on there. It's the house of teaching, close friends and advisors. So what I'm seeing here really is a get together with friends and family and enjoying good food and good conversation and thinking about whether or not you're truly getting your needs met. And if you're not, remember that you can always ask for what you need, say no to what you don't need, and then negotiate the rest. And if you don't know how to do that, there you can find out how to do that. You can get scripts for these things because most people have a hard time asking for what they want because most people have Mercury combust the sun. But it's doable. It's all entirely doable. Everybody has the right to ask for what they want and to say no to what they don't want and negotiate the rest. So over to you, Neeshee. You want to talk about the card that you pulled for it today too?
Eight of Hearts, right. So Eight of Hearts is about the balance that can ultimately come from nourishment. You know, when we're properly nourished, we feel balanced. So Leos are, as you pointed out, in that process of ascertaining what their needs really are. What do they need to be nourished by in order to feel balanced? You know, that's a question. And the full moon last month was in Leo, you know, and that was a total lunar eclipse as well. So Leos have been through it. And so I think that this is a good moment, you know, that having occurred for them to reassess, you know, anything that might have come up from that eclipse, you know, just to see where do I go from here? You know, what are my needs? What do I need in my life? You know, and it's going to be, I would say, practical. I don't think it's necessarily going to be, you know, emotional things or relational things. I think it could just be very, very practical, very earthy, you know, like what Virgo is. It could simply be about what are some practical things I need in my life that's going to help me feel nourished and you know, keep my fire burning, or what do I not need in my life right now that's just keeping me from being as nourished as I could be because I don't have enough room for the things that I really want. I'm holding on to all these other things. See, that's the same thing. That's a Virgo process, you know, that reception, release, that absorption, elimination. So one side of that is going to be revealed, and if both sides of that equation are working, you feel balanced, you feel nourished. So I think that assessment is going to be coming up in the consciousness of Leo people. So it's a good opportunity to get clear on things and to move forward from there.
Yeah, that's good. And the earth and energy of the full moon in Virgo, does that help Leo rising?
Yeah, I think it's grounding. You know, fire is definitely a lighter element than earth and water. And, you know, Leos will benefit from this groundedness. I think it's nice in a lot of ways to have moon in an earth sign. You have to remember that the moon is exalted in an earth sign, which is Taurus.
That's right.
With the moon, you know, I think it feels grounded in earth element signs where it has a sense of stability. You know, because it's a phasing planet. It likes to feel stability, security. You know, that's how we feel balance in our life too. And things are changing all the time. We don't feel so great, you know.
This is
So
true.
I think the moon feels good in earth signs. I think that's a positive thing. And for people who aren't already very earthy, it can be really useful.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't have anything else to say for Leo rising sun or moon,
I don't.
okay, on to Virgo. Virgo rising sun or moon. And look, the full moon is right in the first house for Virgo. This is another important placement for the full moon. It only happens once a year. And it's the time to treat yourself to something. That's what it means to have the full moon in the first house. It's a benefic. It's good for your body. Now, it's in an earth sign, and Virgo is already earth, but it's also water because that is the moon. So earth and water, and I'll let Neeshee talk about that in a moment. But it also has to do with yourself, your appearance, your body, your literal path through life. And when the full moon is going through the first house, it's a good time to actually buy some new clothes because the moon likes new clothes. And there's a focus on yourself and your self-image anyway when the moon is there. And it's something nice. It's something pleasurable because the full moon does give. Now, in the sign of Virgo, Virgo is about discrimination, elimination, and what do you call it? Purification, also extracting nourishment from things. Go through your wardrobe, and I'm including men too here. Like, go through your wardrobe and weed out anything that is no longer you, that you no longer feel comfortable in. You feel comfortable in something when you put it on and then you forget about it. You don't even think about it anymore. That's when you know it suits you really well. So this could be a really pleasurable time to do that. And of course, anything that enhances how you feel in your body enhances your whole life. And it's, of course, what you're wearing is not the most important thing in life, but it certainly is an element of self-expression. And I'm sorry to say it, but in this world, that matters for something. It does. People do judge you by the book by the cover when they first meet you. So you want it to be congruent with who you are. And the full moon, that will help you. And if you've been looking for a good excuse, well, the 19th of February, that's the day. And go for it. So you have anything to say about this, Neeshee? Not necessarily that particular, topic, but whatever you want to say about it.
Yeah, I think that what you're saying is pretty much what I would say as well. I like that you're highlighting this aspect of the moon that's about how we experience ourselves. And how we experience ourselves is really the key to discovering what our authentic self really is. That's you can't lie about how you actually feel. If you're aware of how you feel about something, that's just what it is. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. What you feel is what you feel, one way or the other. And
Right.
so there's something about the moon that lends itself to that level of authenticity, of just getting in touch with like our inner being, our deeper personality. So I think this first house moon in Virgo, for Virgo people, can be really useful for that, for getting in touch with that, for, as you said, in certain ways, seeing what parts of themselves are not really, reflective of how they're experiencing themselves. Like often we just get into patterns and habits, and we're actually changing in lots of ways. And sometimes it takes time for those internal changes to show itself externally. And this is a good moment to just see if there's been a lag between that, and if that inner and outer can become harmonized.
Right. How does this relate to the card that you pulled today? Did you mention that yet for Virgo rising?
If I did, I pulled the Eight of Hearts.
Okay.
So Eight of Hearts is, it's a Rahu card, and it's a card of nourishment and balance, potentially. So I think that also plays in here, that when we get in touch with how we really feel about something, sometimes it's a crisis, because we realize the many, many ways in which our life does not reflect, how we really feel.
Yeah.
And that we need to make a change. So there's always a division, you know, and that's the same division that Rahu and Ketu point out at so many levels. So the 8, you know, the Rahu card is about becoming aware of that division, that dividedness in us, so that we can become whole again. So I think for all full moons, especially, you know, in the first house or second house, I think are a good opportunity for getting into that level of it. Just see, well, what is really going on inside of me? You know, it's a good time to be introverted.
Yeah. Right. And the hearts too, it's fruit. So it's some kind of, it's a good thing. It's a giving thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Virgos, you know, like I said before, it's the sign that's sensitive relative to health. So that's, you know, that's true of Virgo people.
But
and now
what about the water there, right, in the earth sign with the moon right there and an earth sign rising?
Right.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think that's, you know, that's a nice balance in a way. It's pretty grounding. I mean, Virgo people are already grounded. The water is going to help them kind of break up a little bit of that earth. The moon has that water and air element to it. So it's going to get things moving. You know, the moon rules the circulatory system. You know, rules the blood. So it's going to get things flowing. That's what the moon is about. Getting things to flow, getting things to move. That's what water is about too. It's about flow at a different level, at a more dense level of flow, a nourishing flow. You know? So
they probably find themselves feeling a bit more emotionally expressive, being able to just express themselves more easily that way.
Exactly. They might not feel as rooted as they usually do. And that's healthy from time to time to experience something that's not our usual mode.
So there you go, Virgo rising, sun or moon. So this is the end of Aries to Virgo and part 1. And now to watch Libra rising, sun or moon through Pisces rising, sun or moon, go to part 2. The link will be below.